Hey everybody, First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. It's Saturday morning. We're watching this big storm system to the west with the potential to bring some severe weather to our area. Here's the latest thinking. Not a whole lot of change actually from yesterday, which is, I guess, a good thing and a bad thing because once it's not getting weaker, but the good news, it's not also getting stronger. So let's get right to the details. We'll start with this really wide view and show you the system back to the west. You can see it's just now moving into Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, even western Alabama. And a couple things to note here. I'm going to pause this loop here real quickly. And you can see we've got a severe thunderstorm watch, which extends up into Ohio and Kentucky, but a whole bunch of tornado watches from the Gulf Coast all the way up to Nashville. So it's still got a long ways to go. Ahead of it, we've got these showers, and we've seen southerly winds, which have been producing really warm conditions today. In fact, temperatures ahead of this system have soared into the mid and upper 60s. It's almost a spring-like kind of muggy feel out there this afternoon. I'll show you the satellite radar and the temperatures together here. This is a different view. And look at these temperatures over the Carolinas. Look at the mid 60s and 70s here, and a lot of showery activity. Look at the dew points, though, in the mid 60s in some locations. That's a really soupy air mass that's heading our way. So here's the severe weather outlook for today. Again, our area, obviously entire Carolinas under the low risk, but the worst weather is going to be down here and along this line to our west. So we're going to be watching this line approaching sometime, I would say, probably later after 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. Here's a close-up view so you can see, excuse me, our entire viewing area under that low risk for severe storms. So again, the timing has not changed all that much. We're still looking at this 8 p.m. to midnight time frame. Tornado threat's still low, but it's not zero. We call it a non-zero tornado threat, which means it's close to zero, but not zero right now. That could change depending on the cloud cover out there. In fact, if I look at the cloud cover and I see any breaks developing where temperatures shoot up into the mid and upper 70s, that would be a game changer for the tornado threat. I still think damaging winds are going to be our primary concern. And just to show you the overall tornado threat, it's a 2% probability basically along and east of I-85. Not much of a threat at all in the mountains. So 2% is kind of the area we kind of keep an eye on, but you're in that 1 to 2% range. If that would jump to 5%, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, that's actually pretty significant because a lot of times people look at those as like rain chances. Remember, a rain chance is the difference between not having an umbrella and getting wet and nothing. A tornado chance is the difference between a tornado and nothing. So there's the outcome is much different. So don't look at these the same way as you look at rain chances. For us, a 5% probability of a tornado within 25 miles of one point on the map is pretty significant setup. So let's go back to this map and we'll kind of break down the timing of this as it pushes in from the west. All right, so here's a look at our rapid refresh model. We run this model every hour, so it gives us continuous updates. It self-corrects based on the current radar. So I really like showing this, especially in these severe thunderstorm type setups because it just updates so frequently. So we'll go through the afternoon. We'll stop this about 5 p.m. So 5 p.m., notice there's not a whole lot going on across the Carolinas. We're looking at showers, and that's about it. But the main line of storms is back here. We're going to go to 7 p.m. Looks like the leading edge is trying to get into the Carolinas from Atlanta up to Knoxville, moving towards the Asheville area. We'll go further. 8 p.m. is when I think we start to see weather move into the mountains. That's probably the earliest. Looks like 9 o'clock is the main time frame. And then here's 10 o'clock. So look at this line. You can see it's pretty potent. And right now, looking at that, you kind of see that there's definitely going to be strong winds associated with this. I'm already seeing non-thunderstorm wind reports, which is winds just with the southerly winds causing issues. So wind is our biggest concern with this by far, more so than tornadoes. I know tornadoes get the big billing, but this to me is definitely a wind event. And here it is right at 11:18, crossing over the heart of the area. So right in there, pushing to the east, we'll go towards 12 o'clock, basically midnight. You can see it's weakening 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and then 4 a.m. tries to perk up a little bit more to the east. So that kind of gives you an idea. I'll back it up here. We'll play it through. And that's what it looks like as it pushes through the area. So that's kind of my thinking right now. The timing, honestly, if we go back to my graphic here that we showed you at the top, this timing doesn't change at all. So what type of impacts are we most concerned about? It's really those straight line winds because just looking at the way the line sets up, And the significant tornado parameters and some of the other tornado parameters have actually come down just a hair. And I'm going to show you to those here in a minute. We're going to bring them up here so you can see them on this map. But let me turn everything off real quickly as I show it to you. So we're going to do a model fill here. Let me grab the short range rapid refresh. And what I'm going to show you is updraft helicity, which is essentially showing the possibility of rotating storms. So I'm doing this in real time with you as the data shows. So these are updraft helicity showing rotation. Look how strong these are to the west of us, much more potent. And then watch what happens as we get closer to our area. They start to weaken, but there's a couple lines we're going to have to watch moving into the western Carolinas, especially right around 11 p.m. to midnight. So this line right here, these are storms that could have mid-level rotation. So the tornado threat's not zero, but you can see how the number of rotating updrafts decreases. We go back to here, the whole line has them. As it gets closer to the Carolinas, it diminishes, but it's not zero. That's why we say the threat is low, but it's a non-zero threat. And by the time we get to 2 a.m. or 1 a.m., 3 a.m., that threat weakens. So if we're going to see a spin up, I actually think the highest probability might be in here, especially in this corridor right here. Again, that 10, 11, 12 o'clock time frame, and that's certainly one that I'm keeping an eye on. So let's look at the significant tornado parameter. Okay, so significant tornado parameter, basically the ingredients for tornadoes. You can see the scale on the bottom, similar to the one I show on TV, 0 to 10. Charlotte, again, is right there in the middle. If you don't know your location on the map, this is I-77, I-85, I-40. Hickory's here. Here's Asheville, Upstate, Charlotte, Monroe, Rock Hill. So let's go out into the future. We'll go to this afternoon. STP values aren't too crazy. You start to see some 1 and 2 show up, but this is ahead of the main line. This is 5 p.m., 6, 7, 8, 7 o'clock. This is 7 o'clock right here. You're starting to see an uptick in some of the parameters there. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So there's the parameters, especially down here in South Carolina. That catches my eye. I'm seeing some 3s and 4s down there. We didn't really see those yesterday as high up there. So again, remember I just showed you the map, the area I was most concerned about? It is right in here. That I-85 corridor coming out of the upstate of South Carolina. And then we go to about 10 or 11 o'clock and then midnight to the east. So again, I don't want to downplay the tornado threat, but it is lower than we're seeing with the straight line wind threat. But as I mentioned, it's not zero. So again, the biggest area of concern for me, I think that 2% probability in here is probably pretty warranted. So again, I'll be doing updates throughout the day. I'll post any updates if we get warnings or watches. Right now, I'm sticking with this timing. So if you're going to be out and about or doing anything this evening, make sure you're weather aware. Grab our app. I cannot emphasize enough. Make sure you go and grab this app right here. You'll see it right there. Sorry for the ring light. It looks just like that one right there. You're going to pull that open, and this is the one you want, folks. This one, you can go up into the corner of your screen, and you can actually go to settings, and you'll see the alerts right there, and you can set them up in your phone. So I would do that right now. Get ready just in case. We do have some warnings tonight. We're definitely not seeing the threat that we are to our southwest, but something that you should stay weather aware.